sports, and politics. Get ready to rumble! You wanna talk smack? You in the right place. So take a step back before I get all up in your
remember, because I don't remember. I remember every bit of this.
You're the dudes holding on the phone line. Your voice will be heard, sir.
Next caller, please.
Jerry's gonna get him.
Fantasy, sports, and politics. Fantasy, sports, and politics. Fantasy, sports, and politics. Fantasy, sports, and politics.
Listeners are asking questions about this week's games, not Jerry's personal beef. So what's your thought? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you what my personal thought is. My personal thought is this is Fantasy Sports and Politics. I want to welcome you and thank you for tuning in. We are live and in living color. No Memorex. No, I missed it. But I will tell you this. The first 2 weeks in November, the show will not be live and will not air because I will not be available. However, if you guys want, I can do a replay of a couple of the predictions that were set up. I think I might do that. Just so you guys don't miss a show. You know what I mean? But anyway, welcome to Fantasy Sports Politics. It's me with the FSP. I do what I do because I do for you all day, every day. And right now, I'm in a debate with somebody about Cam Ward of the University of Miami. And I don't like Cam Ward as a top talent. I think he's going to be Jamarcus Russell. But you're not here for college. We'll talk about it. But let me finish. Well, I'll finish that in a second. 1 sec. I'm live. I had to do it. Welcome to join me on the show to discuss. Anyway, Cam Ward, the comparison in the chat I'm in was stated to be better than Shedeur Sanders. I totally disagree. Totally disagree with that. I believe Shedeur has the mind, which is, for me, I'm not gonna lie to you. I like big, strong quarterbacks, but I prefer the neck up quarterback over the physical quarterback. The reason why I say that is the physical quarterback is the one that will rely a lot on just arm strength and the ability to run people over. A la Richardson. I'm going to say this. He's this year's Richardson, if that helps clear it up. Just with more time in college. So Richardson going to go again, but Richardson is a big guy with some arm talent, a lot of arm talent actually, but he doesn't know. And he's slow to the read. He's slow on the draw. He went from a simple offense in college to a somewhat more difficult offense, but shouldn't say dumbed down, but they've tempered it down so the young man could succeed. Unfortunately, he decides to run a lot. And when he runs a lot, he gets hurt. He's just getting hurt. I got to answer this, y'all, because in the sense that he's more physical than cerebral. How to do that. So Richardson and the Colts are an enigma. Let's think about that. An enigma. You just don't know. There's always a question. There's always some sort of what if? Why can't he? How will he? You don't know. And I'll say this. Wait a minute. Wait. They're blowing me up. Now back to the show. All right. Let me get back to topic, y'all, because there is a debate going on. I invited a few of them to come on. One is taking care of his child, so I can't. I'm not gonna, try to talk him into coming on the show when he's watching his child. But if somebody else has something to say, by all means, bring it on. I love the debate. It's not that difficult of a debate. Cam Ward is a low Heisman candidate. Low. To the point where I think he might not even make the top 5 or top 4, however many they're going to do this year. But with that being said, I'm talking about Richardson and the Colts. Think about this. The value, let's bring it back to fantasy. The value of a player a skill position player is based upon the ability of the quarterback, right? We can agree, or I would hope we can agree, that over the years we've seen Michael Pittman Jr. flourish with several quarterbacks. He's been in the league, 4 years, 3 to 4 years? He excelled last year after Richardson got hurt. He did. Gardner Minshew made him a top wide receiver. I think he was a top 10 wide receiver, if I'm not mistaken. So think about that. With Richardson in at quarterback, he's really nobody. He's Mr. Nobody. When Joe Flacco stepped in, Downing and Pittman Jr., you saw their numbers jump. Jonathan Taylor, one of the most dominant running backs in the NFL, does not even look that way. Past couple years, he's been injured now. But you would think with the read option with Richardson and him, both would be top tier. Neither are. We'll talk about trades and stuff like that. But on today's show, that's part of it. We're going to talk about Devonte Adams trade, Cooper Kupp. Who else will be traded? I think Courtland Sutton needs to be traded. Max Crosby. Going to Detroit, I would give up the 2 first-round picks if I were Detroit to give to the Raiders to get Max Crosby. One, I believe both of those first-round picks are going to be super low. Super low. And you get Max Crosby for this year to take the place of Aiden Hutchinson. And when Hutchinson comes back, Max and Aiden would be fantastic. Fantastic. I'd pull the trigger. I would pull the trigger if I'm in Detroit right now and the Raiders said, give me 2 first-round picks for Max Crosby. Done. Now, I understand they might also be trying to get Hassan Reddick. Hassan is a little older. He wants a new contract where he's making close to like what? 27, 30 million a year. Don't know if that's going to happen. But Max Crosby is worth whatever it is you give to the Raiders. Outside of players. Because right now, 2 teams, in my opinion, are in sell mode. Cleveland and the Raiders. Now, the rumor I read was that Green Bay is trying to get Newman the second and Myles Garrett from Cleveland. I'll tell you what, if Green Bay gets those 2 players, I'm a little worried. But if Detroit can get Reddick, Crosby, or Garrett, or 2 of the 3, that would be insane. Insane. I really think this trade deadline coming up is going to be very important, especially for these teams like Detroit, who's on the cusp of being the dominant team in the NFC. I think they're the best team in the NFC. I honestly think the Detroit Lions are going to go to the Super Bowl. I know my predictions earlier this year didn't have them in the Super Bowl, had them at the the NFC Championship game, but honestly, on paper, Philly looks like they're ready. But on the field, Philly does not look like they're ready. San Fran's banged up all across the board. People were saying the Rams were ready. The Rams, everybody's on IR. You might get Cooper Kupp back this week. Chicago is not what we thought they would be just yet, but give them second half of the year going into next year, maybe they will be. But I think they're going to have some woes coming up in the next few weeks. They play Washington next week, and I believe Washington's going to kick that butt, honestly. It's in D.C. as well. Green Bay. Something happens to Jordan Love, Green Bay is not going to make it. Malik Willis is not that answer. Dallas. Don't even talk about Dallas. The Commanders, my team. I love the Commanders. Do I think they're ready to be a Super Bowl contender? No. I don't think so. The fan in me? Hell yeah. The analyst in me? No. I think they need to figure out their defense a little better because the secondary is atrocious. I'm going to be honest, it's atrocious. And they just lost Jonathan Allen. So one half of that powerful middle of that defense, the defensive tackle is gone for the season, unfortunately. With that being said, Minnesota, I don't think is going to last long. Minnesota goes as Aaron Jones goes. Aaron Jones is coming back this week. But here's what I'm getting to. Minnesota went out and got Cam Akers and brought him back in because, just my opinion, they don't believe in Ty Chandler. And if they don't believe in Ty Chandler, of course they're going to try to get Aaron Jones back as they get Cam back into the fold to spell him. And if need be, take his spot so he can heal. San Fran, they're on their third and fourth running backs of the year. They still haven't brought back Mitchell. I don't know if Mitchell's on season-ending IR or if he's due to come back, but think about that. They're on their third and fourth running back. Brandon Ayuk has been on a milk carton. Detroit is literally the best team in the NFC. You go over there to the AFC, Kansas City might got the better record, but they're not the best team. I'm sorry, they're not. Now, I think there is going to be a tough fight this week. We'll get to that when we get to that game, but I like Houston. I also really love the Jets now that he's got his favorite target. Listen to me. All you people talking about Aaron Rodgers washed up and this, that, and the third. He's not. Now that he has Devonte Adams in the fold, he has Lazard, he has Adams, he has a good running game, which they need to do more of. I just think you got to give. Allen's good, the rookie, but you got to feed. You got to feed my man, Breece Hall. If you don't feed him, and everybody knows you're going to throw like 40 times a game, what do you expect? They're going to tee off on that weak offensive line. Now, the right side of the offensive line is pretty good. It's that left side. They went out and got Tyron Smith, and Tyron is not that good anymore. Let's just be honest. He's not. So when he's getting hit, it's because people aren't where he think they're going to be. Scramble drills aren't what they're supposed to be. Now, a lot of this I'm going to put on Aaron Rodgers because Aaron Rodgers was in Egypt during OTAs and some part of camp. I don't knock him for being there. I'm about to go there my daggone self. But your young stallion and Garrett Wilson needed you to you got to nurture him. You got to nurture him. But now Garrett Wilson falls to the number 2. And I'm going to tell you right now, ladies and gentlemen, sell Garrett Wilson. He might be number 2 on a depth chart, but he's going to be number 3 in that target progression. Right now, Allen Lazard leads that team in targets. Not even close. Allen Lazard leads that team in touchdowns. And then you bring in Devonte Adams. What do you think is going to happen? Lazard ain't going to get that many more targets. Adams is going to get like 7-8 targets a game. Lazard probably get 5 to 6. That leaves Garrett maybe 4, maybe 5 targets a game. Especially if they're running the rock right. Time to trade Garrett Wilson in fantasy. His value will, you will see. You will see. Unless something else happens. Speaking of these trades, Mike Williams just signed that deal. It's a 1-year deal, but he's about to get traded or cut. He's the number 4 receiver right now. I said Courtland Sutton earlier. Courtland Sutton did not get 1 target. Not 1 target. Thursday night. I believe they're trying to trade him. I didn't even see him play the fourth quarter or the third quarter. What's up with that? That's a wrestling thing. The hurricane, if you follow wrestling, you get that. So I'm going to give myself a bump because that was my joke. But you have a situation where Cleveland is selling everybody. How long before Deshaun Watson is on the bench and CDR is the quarterback or Jameis Winston? I give it after this week. Jerry Jeudy is the lead receiver right now. Jerry Jeudy got a lot of money. Jerry Jeudy has done nothing. But now here's his chance. He is the guy. Nothing will happen. Jerry Jeudy's going to be Jerry Jeudy. Just my thought. Thanos and Heisenberg says Garrett Wilson has 67 targets and Lazard has 40. Listen, my friend, you're right. It's not even close. I'll put it this way. Garrett Wilson got 16 targets over the last 2 weeks. I got him in my league. He was not getting targeted until he made a stink about it 2 weeks ago when he said something about the offense being stagnant. Then, guess what happened? He got targeted up that game. Last game, he got targeted up. Allen Lazard, those 40 targets, he was averaging, 7 targets a game? And he was the number 2 guy? Where your number 1 guy was getting like 5 targets a game. You can say what you want. Those numbers are great. But I'm telling you, Allen Lazard was and is, until now, because Devonte Adams is back, the guy for Aaron Rodgers. When it was crucial plays, who got the ball? Allen Lazard, not Garrett Wilson. I love Garrett Wilson. Trust me. But it's time to sell him in fantasy. I'm just telling you. As long as Devonte Adams is there, he's going to be in a learn mode, but on the field. Do you think Garrett Wilson is going to continue to get 8-9 targets a game? Matter of fact, I can pull it right now how many targets he got last game. He got, and these people are ridiculous, Garrett Wilson, I'm going to pull him up, game log, last game against Buffalo, he had 10 targets. 10. Right? Against Minnesota. 23 targets. That's 33 targets in 2 weeks. 33 targets in 2 weeks. I just pulled it up, my friend. Okay, the first 4 weeks. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. If Garrett Wilson had 33 targets in 2 weeks, and he has 67 now, and Lazard got 40, and Lazard only had 5 targets last game. I'm telling you, Garrett Wilson's numbers are going to dip precipitously. Trade him if you can. Get what you can for him. Thanos Heisenberg, hey, I appreciate you coming in. Let's debate. I love it. I love it. Challenge me. Challenge me. And I think your picture is like, I'll bring you back up. You're looking like, I don't know what y'all, like a Black Thanos iced tea mix. And you trying to trade him in Dynasty? Good. I will say this. I will say this, that Garrett Wilson is going to be with the Jets. You know who's not going to be with the Jets next year? Devonte Adams, because they're not going to extend his contract. Too much money. Alan Lazard, because it makes too much money. And Aaron freaking Rodgers. But here's what I'm going to tell you about either trading him for dynasty or keeping him for dynasty. In a regular league, I'm trading him. In dynasty, I might hold on to him. And the reason why I'm going to hold on to him for dynasty, and you know what? I want to thank you for being there. I'm gonna give you some love, brother. I'm gonna give you some love. I'm gonna love you up and give you some of that. For those over there on Twitch, you probably saw some of the stuff I just put up there. But there you go, Thanos. I gave you a little love. The quarterback in waiting is your Florida State quarterback from last year that literally took them on an undefeated streak until he got hurt. Travis, I believe his name is. That kid is legit. He is legit. Him and Garrett are going to do money next year. Money. That's what I'm going to tell you. So in Dynasty, I'd probably hold on to him. But in the regular league, I'm trading. I'm trying to trade him now. I really am trying to trade him now. Not for a bag of potato chips and soda, but I went out and I acquired like Marvin Harrison Jr. because I like to stack. But I acquired Marvin Harrison Jr., Tank Dell, and a few others. Tank Dell is another guy whose numbers are about to go through the roof since Nico Collins is on IR. Pick them up while you can, guys. I'm telling you, pick them up while you can. But let's get to these games. And Thanos, thank you. Thank you for supporting. Thank you for coming in. I appreciate you. And if you want to come on, just shoot a private message with your email. I'll bring you on, but you can stay incognito if you want. It's all good. But let's get to these games because I've talked around them. I talked about a little bit of them. The first game is New England and Jacksonville. Both are 1-5. But I'm going to put it to you this way. Jacksonville's defense is starting to come on a little bit as that offense is finding itself. Tank Bigsby stayed in his role. He didn't take over for Travis Etienne. He didn't. Travis Etienne's got a hamstring thing. I think he's playing anyway. But they needed to run the ball more. Just run the hell out the ball. Slam it in there with Tank, throw it to Travis or whatever you want to do. But defenses were not respecting the run game. So all they did was cover your receivers. People are dropping Christian Kirk. Listen to when I tell you this. Evan Ingram and Christian Kirk are Trevor Lawrence's favorite targets. Now, Jacksonville's going to win this game, in my opinion. Drake May's a great talent who needs to be developed. And if the defense of Jacksonville does their job, Drake May is going to look like a high school quarterback on Sunday morning. That's my thoughts. Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars got to run Tank. They got to run Travis. Set up the play action for Brian Thomas. Set up the play action for Christian Kirk. Hit Evan Ingram in the middle of the field. Hit him on corner routes. I told you guys last week, when Evan Ingram returns, Trevor Lawrence's numbers will improve. It's only 1 week. But watch what I tell you the next couple weeks. As long as Evan Ingram's in there, that's his safety blanket in the passing game. And it sets up the deep stuff for Christian Kirk and now Brian Thomas. But the key is the run game. That offensive line isn't that bad. But they are a running offensive line throwing the ball a lot. Doug Peterson, if you lose this game against the Patriots, you're fired. I'm just be honest, you're fired. And if you're not fired, everybody in Duval will be calling for you to be fired loudly at your next home game. You guys are really, Jacksonville, the home team. Chicago had a lot of fans here last week. I ain't gonna lie. But Jacksonville, London is yours. Treat it as such. I don't care how boring it is to run the ball, but you keep beating up that front seven of the Patriots. Easy money. All day. Guaranteed. I got Jacksonville. Next game, we're going to talk about Seattle at Atlanta. Very interesting game. Very interesting game. I'll say this. Geno has flourished in the Huskies, Washington Huskies offense, college offense. The problem is they're not using Walker nearly enough. Not nearly enough. I understand you want to get DK the ball. I understand you want to get Jackson Smith and Jigba the ball. And you've gotten Tyler Lockett the ball. This is the game where I would say throw the ball around. Believe it or not, Atlanta's run defense is pretty good. It's pretty good. But that secondary is, woo! Bring them out, bring them out. They're good too. Don't put the ball around Mr. Bates. Don't do it. He'll take it. But the thing is, DK has that speed that will take him way past the double team. He'll just run away from him. Be honest. Flip it over. Kirk Kubangs or Kirko, whatever they call him, Kirk. Surf swagging. Look, I told you before the season started, he's going to turn Drake London into the next Justin Jefferson, and he's going to turn Pitts into the next Hockenson. Well, recently, Drake London's looking like Justin Jefferson. Pitts, I don't know why they got this dude blocking so much. I really don't. Use him for what he is, a big-ass wide receiver. He beats safeties. He is bigger than most corners. Get him the ball. Then you got Bijan. Darnell Mooney is also hands up and down. But he, up until recently, had been the big target for Kirk. And don't sleep on Ray McLeod. He's a return man, but he's also the third receiver, and he's really good. He's really good. Tyler Algier. You see what I'm saying? The weapons on Atlanta far exceed the weapons on Seattle. And I think Atlanta is finding their groove. It wasn't going to be automatic. It took, 4 games because 2 weeks of great production out of Drake London. Kirk threw for what? 400 and some change 2 weeks ago against Tampa. That was dope. Okay. Will he have to do it again this week? I don't know. I got Atlanta, but I got him in a close one because it's at home. I love that young ho. Koo. His name is Young-Ho Koo. I'm not making fun of his name. It's Young-Ho Koo. So I think it's going to come down to his leg again. Honestly do. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I'm taking the over myself. But do as you please. I'm taking Atlanta. Next game. Tennessee at Buffalo. Look, I'm going to tell you right now. Will Levis is on a thin string. Thin string. One, his shoulder's hurt. His throwing shoulder. But your number one receiver is yelling at his targets, and he went catchless. Your other receiver, who's a bona fide stud, is wondering why he's not getting traded because he's not getting the ball. DeAndre Hopkins. And that's another guy. We'll talk about these players that I think should be traded or will be traded by the deadline. He's one of them. Tony Pollard has been a very big positive in that backfield. Tennessee can't get out of its own way because of Will Levis. Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised if he turns the ball over and you start seeing Mason Rudolph warm up. Do not be surprised. I'm telling you, Will Levis is a very good quarterback if he's patient. But he's just like Richardson, just like the kid Cam Ward in college. Big arm, nice build, relies too much on the physical. Now, is he studying? I think he's studying. But his ego, we saw it when he got drafted. He was mad, piss hot mad that he was drafted in the second round. But his ego might be his undoing because he wants to zip it in there instead of taking an easy check down and living on to the next play. Or he wants to run and he gets banged up. All I can tell you is when you're that big, that powerful, you think you're literally like a monster. You think you are, but you're not. Use what you have. Aluakon, the tight end, who's a very good tight end, disappeared. He's not throwing it to him. Now, I told you guys about a month ago that Buffalo would not win the next three games. I think they got lucky by beating the Jets. That's just me. But this proves what I was saying. They were not built to last. What did they do? They went out and got Amari Cooper. Hell of a pickup. Amari sometimes has the drops. When Amari's on, he's on. How's he going to deal with that Buffalo weather? I don't know. But Amari Cooper is that veteran receiver he needs. Shakur is a very good receiver, but he's not a dominant receiver. Curtis Samuels, very good gadget guy. They started using him for gadgets. About time, but he's not that guy. Amari Cooper gives Josh Allen this target that he didn't have before in the receiver set. He has Dalton Kincaid. He has Dawson Knox, but now he has a big, still got little wheels on him, very good hands, except when he's dropping. He goes through spells of drops. I don't think that's the only reason why I don't like Amari Cooper that much, because sometimes he's like, damn, and another times he's like, boop, boop, boop. It goes all the way back to when he was with the Raiders. He's the number one guy, but Crabtree becomes the number one guy. Then he goes to Dallas. He's the number one guy, but they bring in other people because he's having a dropsies. Goes to Cleveland. He's okay, but still not that good. But it's better for Josh Allen. A quiet guy, pretty reliable hands, great route runner. great route runner, and is respectful of the process. That helps Josh with his mental more than anything else. I'll be very honest with you. Josh is a wonderful talent that developed into a wonderful talent, and now you gave him Amari Cooper. This is an easy game to pick. Buffalo wins, but I'm telling you, when they play Miami next week, they're going to lose when Tua returns. Watch what I tell you. All right, next game. Cincinnati and Cleveland. Speaking of Cleveland, Cleveland is in sell mode. I'm surprised the fans aren't selling off either. Look, they're fair weather fans, man. They are fair weather fans in every organization. Cleveland has some of the most diehard fans, but as they start selling off different parts of the team, and now they're moving from that stadium where it is, they're getting a new stadium. Who's going to stick around? Some people, someone that used to be on the show, only was a Cleveland fan because of Mr. Massage, Mr. Watson. Doesn't matter to me either way, but Cleveland needs to find something. And you know what they found? Nick Chubb returns this week. But this is Nick Chubb's first action since coming back from the injury. So don't expect too much. And this is why Cincinnati, I believe, is going to win this game. Not because they're that much better than Cleveland, but because this is Nick Chubb's preseason game. Week 6. Amari's gone. That means Jerry Jeudy with the loose booty and weak hands is the number 1 receiver. Elijah Moore, number 2. For whatever reason, Watson can't find Njoku. I realize Njoku was injured. Got it. But he's still not finding him when he's healthy. Ford is injured. He's out. So I think Dante Foreman is the backup to Nick Chubb this week. And I think you're going to see a lot of Foreman because, again, this is Chubb's first game since coming back off the injury. Cincinnati is finding itself. Chris Brown has slowly started taking more and more away from Zach Moss. Now, I like them as a duo, though. And I think that's what Cincinnati needs to do. Mix them in a little more. But Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Joe Burrow are firing on all cylinders. And they're ready. They're going to win this game. Next matchup, Houston, Green Bay. There are a lot of great games this week, guys. And this is one of them. Green Bay's strong suit, which I would have not believed, because I honest to God, I wouldn't have thought this, and I've said it in the preseason. I've said that Green Bay's front 7 was garbage. That's what I said. And I own it. It turns out it's flip-flop. Green Bay's secondary is garbage, and their front 7 is good. My cat's trying to open the door. Green Bay can stop the run. So Joe Mixon, don't expect a lot from Joe Mixon this week in the run game. Maybe on some screens and stuff, but not in the run game. But you know who I expect to have a huge game? Tank Dell. Last week you started to see him get more targets now that Nico's down. I think he got like 8 or 9 targets last week. I expect him to get 13 or better this week. 13 freaking targets. I honestly believe so. Yes, Stephon Diggs is there. Stephon Diggs should be the number 1, but here's my thought. Schultz has taken a huge back seat in that offense, which I didn't expect. So the target share I believe goes to not Nico, goes to Tank and Stephon. And I'm going to say roughly, I think Stroud's going to throw the ball maybe 30, 35 times, right? And if Tank's getting 13 or better and Diggs is getting like 8 to 10, that leaves a little bit to sprinkle around. It's going to be tough, but I got Houston winning this game by a field goal. I understand it's in Green Bay. Jordan Love, the dude is legit. I didn't think he was. I did not. But he's the real deal, and he's making his receivers better. Kraft, the tight end, he's a little nicked up. I think he's playing, though. But 1 week, Dante Wicks goes off, gets 13 targets. Next week is Romeo Doubs, who returned because he was suspended by the team, the week before. I don't know what's going on with that young man, but he better fix himself. Don't mess up opportunity to be in the NFL and on a team in Green Bay that has history and a very good quarterback. Or it's Reed. You notice we ain't talking much about Josh Jacobs, but Josh Jacobs is quietly having a good year. They're feeding him. That's why I think this could be a very, very good game. High scoring game too. I like Houston though. Houston. Miami and Indianapolis, a game that is going to be trash. Just gonna be honest with you. We talked about Richardson earlier, a hip pointer. But that's the thing. The young man has not learned how to stay in the pocket. He's learned how to throw the ball from RPO. He's learned how to have 1 or 2 reads and take off and use his big body. But that's not going to last. It's not. The team does decidedly better with Joe Flacco or the pocket quarterback. That's what I said earlier about Cam Ward. I prefer a guy neck up to a physical guy. Flacco is a good quarterback. He's a Super Bowl winning quarterback. He's in Super Bowl MVP, even though it was Jacoby Jones, in my opinion, who should have been, but God rest his soul. But he's got that accolade and he's got that ring. And he has the decision making. That's the thing. He might throw a few interceptions, got it. But he stays on the field. He's healthy. He's not playing this game because Richardson is playing. And it's at a good time only because Tua's not playing. Snoop Huntley, I don't know what the deal is, homie. I don't know what the deal is. But, my friend, it is difficult to watch you not get the ball to Tyreek Hill or Waddle. And I don't have Waddle in any league, but I got Tyreek in a couple leagues. Well, I'm going to say 90% of the leagues because I was drafting in the top 2 or 3. I don't know what you're going to do. Devin Chain's supposed to come back. Good. He and Raheem Mostert and Jalen Wright. I think that's a 3-headed monster that they need to use to beat Indianapolis, to set up the play action pass to Tyreek. Tyreek's going to probably get 5 to 6 targets because no one fears Snoop's arm. They don't. I don't know if he can, how deep he can throw the ball, but I think it's going to be a running game. And Miami's defense is going to have to come up and win it. No Jonathan Taylor. So Trey Sherman is back at tailback. Stop him. And I don't think Richardson is going to complete a lot of balls to his own players. I got Miami winning on the strength of their defense. Another good game. Minnesota hosts Detroit. the freaking schedulers did a great job this year. I'm put it that way. Writing the script, they did a great job. Detroit, Minnesota. Look, Sam Darnold is doing what a lot of people didn't think he could do. Win games. But I told you guys a little earlier, Minnesota will go as Aaron Jones goes. If you look at the times Aaron Jones was not in the lineup, whether it was, during the game or missing last week, not last week because they were on bye week, not finishing the game, they didn't look that good on offense. Sam Darnold looked terrible. Terrible. And next week, they get freaking TJ Hockenson back. They might even get him back this week. So they're 5-0, and they beat some teams that nobody thought they would beat. Got to take a water break real quick. But when they did that, when they won, it wasn't really convincing except for a couple games. Now you're taking on a team I think is the best team in the NFC, Detroit Lions. Detroit Lions taking no prisoners, not one. They put a stomping on Dallas like no one's business. I got to tell you, I loved it. I'm a Commanders fan, so of course I loved it. But Detroit, woo! So they come to Minnesota. Are hurt Aaron Jones, but again, as I said, they got Cam Akers. I guess he's going to back him up. Justin Jefferson always has a good game versus Detroit. You can bank on Justin Jefferson to have a good game, right? Naylor is having a better season than Addison, but don't sleep on Addison. You never can sleep on him. He's going to make some noise. Detroit's defense or secondary, good defenders, but I guess Aaron Glenn's scheme, it allows for holes. With no Aiden Hutchinson, which is pretty key here, how will that pass rush look? I love the linebackers. I love the safeties. Corners okay. But without that pass rush, will Sam Darnold be a good statue? I don't know. But that plays in my decision in who I'm picking this game, because I think Minnesota is a very good team. I think Detroit is the best team. So I got to go with Detroit in this game. Again, another high-scoring game. I think the Green Bay-Houston game is over. This game, Detroit-Minnesota, is over. Let me go over to these other games that I was going to say over on. Seattle-Atlanta is an over, in my opinion. Now we got a couple crappy games. Philly at the Giants. Listen, ladies and gentlemen. Listen. Nick Sirianni was chirping at his own fans. He was tired of getting chirped at. Saquon Barkley thinks New York Giant fans are not going to boo him. He said it. He said they don't think they're going to boo him. Bro, every time Saquon Barkley touches that ball, he's going to get booed mercilessly. Anybody from New York or New Jersey, they're loud, overbearing, obnoxious, and thinks they're right all the time. No disrespect to you, New York and New Jersey folks, but you know it's true. I'm just saying, bro. They are blue collar down to the mafia. But you better believe Saquon's going to try to give them every bit of this. Mr. Mara is going to be sitting in that owner's box. You already saw it on Hard Knocks off season. He said, "Oh, I would just die, or I don't know how I'll take it if we lose Saquon and he goes to the Eagles." Well, you lost Saquon and he went to the Eagles, and now you get to see him again, twice a year, first time in your stadium. Not to mention, A.J. Brown, Devonte Smith return. Do you not think? Now, Malik Neighbors is a monster. Monster. I expect him to get 20 targets. I'm not even playing. Out of the 30, 40 passes that Danny Dimes is going to throw, he's going to get 20 of them. Or damn near. He's going to have that line, like I said, for Garrett Wilson when he played Minnesota. 23 targets. I can see it. It won't make a difference, though. I got Philly all day, every day in this game, man. With A.J. Brown and Devonte Smith back, oh, yeah. Yeah. I will say this. Jalen also proved he cannot. It was only a couple games. But to me, he showed that he cannot elevate his receivers with his quarterback play. That's what I saw. I know the receivers on that roster aren't as good as some other backups, but they're still on the team. And what I saw was him constantly looking at Dallas Goedert. And now Dallas is a little nicked up. I don't think Dallas is playing, but that's what I saw. And that bothers me a little bit because Jalen needs a very good receiver to be successful. If he doesn't have it, he's a pedestrian quarterback, unfortunately. I don't need to talk too much about the Giants. They're going to get their butts whooped. Devin Singletary is playing, though. Interestingly enough, Tracy Gray, I believe his name is there going to be a split between the two because Singletary has a growing issue? Probably. Be on the lookout. Raiders at the Rams, another team in sell mode, even though they just got Tom Brady as their minority owner. And I want to talk about how's he going to do his Fox job with all these restrictions. He's going to come into the booth, hasn't studied a thing from notes that he got from, interviewing the coach and stuff. He's going to have to rely on his partner to carry the conversations about the conversations had. Tom Brady studies tape. Got it. But he can't talk. Check this out. He can't talk badly about the refs. He can't criticize them in his announcing role. He can't bet on any games. I don't think he was anyway. He can't be a part of any of the pre-production game planning for the broadcast. He can't be at the facilities of any of these other teams. And the Raiders just traded Devonte Adams, and Max Crosby looks like he's the next one out the door. They're going to Aiden O'Connell. They're not using Zamir White. They're going with Madsen. Look, the Rams might be beat up, but they might be getting Cooper Kupp back. Enough said. Kerryon Williams. Enough said. Matt Stafford. He's going to throw I expect Cooper Kupp to get 20, 25 targets and probably have 18 catches. If Cooper Kupp plays, 25 targets, 18 of those are going to be catches. Book it. And the Rams beat the Raiders. all day, every day. Unfortunately. Now, a game that's near and dear to my heart is a track game. Carolina is a tough out with Andy Dalton. Now, I know Deontay Washington is nicked up, got an ankle issue. He's going to play, I believe. And if he plays against that secondary, he's going to have a field day. Chuba Hubbard, he's been making his way, doing his thing, because he sees that Brooks started practicing. Brooks isn't playing this week. I don't believe he is anyway. But Carolina looks decent with Andy Dalton. I would love to see Washington go get J.C. Horn from them. I wish they would have got him before this game, but get him after the game because we need a DB, and I'd love to have him. But Washington with Jaden Daniels up on a new level. I'm on a new level. Listen. Way back before the draft, I was skeptical about Jaden Daniels being our quarterback or the Commanders' quarterback. I ain't skeptical at all. In fact, I'm going to call it. If Washington wins the division and or goes to the playoffs, they win a playoff game, Jaden Daniels will be the MVP of the league and the Offensive Rookie of the Year. Book it. But it's contingent on those two things. I say this because he's now getting comfortable with Terry McLaurin. Washington still needs a number 2 wide receiver. Why? Because Zach Ertz is our second leading receiver, followed by Austin Eckler, and then Norman Brown. Norman Brown was the guy that was like 4th or 5th on the depth chart at receiver for Washington. And Jaden Daniels is doing this with this lineup. But a big part of that is Brian Robinson. That kid is dope. But Jaden Daniels is a legit, true superstar in the making. And if he continues to do the things he's done, he will be the MVP, in my opinion, of the league, as well as he'll be the Offensive Player of the Year, as well as the Offensive Rookie of the Year. That's not even close. That is not even close, in my opinion. Hopefully nothing happens to him as Washington steamrolls Carolina. Half of Carolina's defense is on our defense, so, it is what it is. Another great game. Kansas City at San Francisco. Now, here's the deal. Mason has been cleared to play. He didn't come back in the game versus New Orleans. Kind of didn't need to, but Isaac Guerrero and Elliott, I believe his last name is. No, Taylor. Taylor did a very good job picking up the slack. Brandon Ayuk, Debo, and Kittle, and Purdy. I know they won't get back, but it's going to be tough. Kansas City is a very, very formidable team. They are resilient. Juju Smith-Schuster has a hamstring issue, may or may not play, but that seems to be Mahomes' favorite target outside of Travis Kelce. I don't know why Xavier Worthy isn't getting targeted more, but they need to find a way to get him the ball. Jet sweeps and some other stuff. I don't know. Let's give him the ball. He's a big play guy. Defensively, Kansas City, great schemes, knows how to play. early on, they don't know how to stop San Francisco. So that's what I mean when I say Mason, Kittle, Debo, Ayuk, and Purdy need to be on their A game, at least for that first half, and put up a bunch of points and force Kansas City to throw the ball in the second half. Now, you can't get complacent in the second half, San Francisco, and settle for, 3 yards of clouds of dust and a punt, because you got to keep putting the pressure on Kansas City. Take the clock away. I might be wrong about this one, but I'm going to call it anyway. I'm picking San Francisco. This is the one I'm not too comfortable with because Pat Mahomes is finding ways to do it. He just is. I don't know how, but he is. I got to go with San Francisco. Sorry, guys. Been a long morning already. The Jets at Pittsburgh. Look, this is another good game. We got to talk about it. Russell Wilson looks to be replacing, not injured, not a lot of mistakes, Justin Fields, who's played well, but probably not good enough because the team's been winning on their defense. Their defense is going to be severely challenged this week because, as I said earlier, Devonte Adams is now going to be the top target for Aaron Rodgers. Adams, Lazard, Wilson, Breece Hall, Allen. If that offensive line can just fix itself, the Jets are going to go on a tear. Bad team to try it against because Pittsburgh's defense is no joke. Is no joke. I expect Carl Pickens, not Carl. I keep calling him Carl because I grew up on Carl. I expect Pickens to have a very good game because he has a quarterback that's going to throw him the ball more if they decide to throw the ball. The difference is this. Justin Fields is more of a running quarterback, so I don't see him not playing. I just don't see him doing more than those read options or, read pop passes. So he'll get in the game. He'll play a couple snaps or whatever. But Russell, first game back, his first game since preseason. And it won't go bad, but it won't go good. It's just the wrong team to play right now. I think the Jets are going to start this week by fixing things. And I've got Aaron Rodgers and the Jets beating Pittsburgh. In Pittsburgh. I know that sounds crazy, but it's got to start somewhere, and I think it starts here. All right, then we're down to the 2 Monday night games. I don't know why ESPN and Disney have agreed to do 2 Monday night games with the NFL. One is going to be a dud. One is going to be okay. The one last time they did it, it was Washington and Cincinnati. And Washington and Cincinnati was supposed to be the dud, but happened to be the better of the two. And it was Miami and I think Buffalo. I think it was. And that game became the Tua concussed game and whatnot. And it was boring. It was boring. And Washington and Cincinnati came down to that fourth down play. And Washington won. Let a naysayer know. But Baltimore and Tampa Bay is an interesting game. The reason why I say that is because Baltimore, they're in their groove. They're finding their space. They're making stuff happen. We'll see what happens with it. I got to tell my son to go get the door, or my wife. Give me a second, guys. Y'all probably going to hear her on the phone, but I got Baltimore winning this game. Tampa Bay isn't quite there yet. We'll do it. Matter of fact, I'm going to go answer this door. I'm in this prematurely. I'm sorry, guys, but I got Baltimore and I've got the Chargers win the game. I'm going to see you all next week, okay? Yeah, I got to do it. Sorry. And play. One second. And
fantasy, sports, and politics. Get ready to rumble! You wanna talk smack? You in the right place. So take a step back before I get all up in your
Remember, because I don't remember. I remember every bit of this.
You're the dudes holding on the phone line. Your voice will be heard, sir.
Next caller, please.
Oh!
Jerry's gonna get him.
Fantasy, sports, and politics. Fantasy, sports, and politics. Fantasy, sports, and politics. Fantasy, sports, and politics.
Listeners are asking questions about this week's games, not Jerry's personal beef. So what's your thought?